And we're live.
Oh, here we go.
Salute.
It's tough being 39.
Dude, you're not a day over 28. Don't even try me. Pretty boy. Holy shnikes.
Usually I'm wearing sweats but I'm on the Mike O'Hearn podcast, so I have to put respect on your name.
Oh, speaking of names,
yeah.
You have established something, but I never know how to say this because it seems as though, and maybe you can help me on this. I start driving home after I do shoulder press or squat or something just ridiculous.
Right.
And I drive home and I'm going, wow, I'm just glad I can do it. So who cares the crazy amount of weight I'm doing? I'm just happy I can do it. And I don't think it comprehends to people because of how you look that I first noticed you in the beginning of the 90s and this guy's on romance covers. He's freaking stud. He's strong. He's massive. He's huge. He's got everything. And dude, that's 30 years ago. So
right?
How do you relate going, we're just still healthy to do this?
It's you know what? It's a mind game, man. Because I know, you have Titan, and as he gets a little bit older, and you're standing on that sideline for football, and you're looking to your right and you're looking to your left, and there's dads in their 30s and 40s, and you're 50s, and there's always that one guy that comes up. He's like, I hope I look like you when I'm your age. And you're like, bro, you're never going to look like anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's always somebody to remind you how old you are. I physically and mentally feel like I'm 25.
But you look it.
Some days.
So I got a question for you then. I'm going to get back to this, but I want to go.
Yeah.
Could you be here? I hate asking that. I don't think I could be here the way I am if I didn't start when I started.
100%.
Okay.
100%.
I would be a derivative. I'd be a percentage of what I am. But
no,
yes,
you grew up in the time where we both did, where when you went into a commercial gym, squat, deadlift, bench, there was no putting 45 pound plates on a leg press and doing half reps when you couldn't squat 80 pounds in a rack. I started training.
There was no days that you leg pressed.
No.
It's a secondary after you squat for 2 hours.
And then you hacked, and then you did leg extensions, or you warmed up. I started training with this guy, Joe Gazzi. He's an Olympic weightlifter when I was 15. I walked into the gym. They're like, do you want the policeman or the fireman special? I'm like, guys, I'm only 15. They're like, really? Started training with this guy, Joe. He was an Olympic weightlifter. I had a pad on the squat. And
you had a pad on the back?
He took the pad.
Oh, come on.
He started beating me with it. So you can't do that these days. He's like, what the hell is wrong with you? He's like, we don't use pads. He's like, you want a maxi pad? And he threw it. And,
oh my gosh.
But you went into the gym to lift as much weight as you possibly could. I did the pyramid 12, 10, 8, 6, 4, 2, 2, 2, 2, 1, 1, 2. But that's how we grew up. We had no fear. There were no cameras. There was nothing. Maybe we had the Walkman that skipped the Motley Crue song, but we just had.
That was before that. I didn't even have the Walkman. So I'm much older, but you're hitting it out of the park because you just said something that would. Remember, he hit you with the pad. I remember the manager of the gym, martial artist, who really kind of governed me at Jeff Magruder's gym. He slapped me, and I was 13 because I asked a stupid question.
Yeah.
And nowadays it's like he's the owner of the gym and he slaps me, a 13-year-old, across the face. But I remember that slap because I loved it later going, I understand the dumbness that I was asking.
Yeah.
And it was no fear. And it was, again, the same thing as you. I had the greatest powerlifters in the world at that age.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's like they shut the door. they trained, they talked the way they talked, they treated me like an adult. And so you and me grew up with that. With that being said, we're here now. We're still doing this
Yeah.
at the most pinnacle level of the world.
More so now for both of us, and more so for you. But I just going back to that. I remember I trained with Masters Nationals champion over 40, 50, 60, 70, Tony Pandolfo. This little guy used to train with Dennis Torino, all the Olympia guys, owned a moving truck. When I was in college, we would train at 4:30 in the morning, and then we would finish our workout by 6. I'd jump on the moving truck with him, move furniture all day, and go to school at night. However, Tony was from the school of train fast. So I was 20, 21, 315. He'd go 185. He's like, let's go. I'm like, did you just do 185? Yeah. He got so frustrated with me the first 2 times, he threw a dumbbell at me and hit me in the shin. And I didn't see anything. I was like, all right, 275. And then he's like, no, put 315 back on, but you're going to do it again. And like, I've always trained with that mentality of train fast. I train hard. And a lot of people, I can't train with them. I get too frustrated. I can't do 6 sets, 9 sets. Like I remember seeing Ronnie Coleman at the Metrics gym, and I did like 40 sets of chest, and he was on his 5th set of squats, wrapping his knees. He's like, all right, buddy, let's go, Frank. There's more ways than one than skin a cat, because obviously he's Mr. Olympian doing what he did, but that was never my mentality. I grew up like you train heavy, you train fast, and multiple sets, volume train.
I love that. I love that old school. I seriously miss it in this last, I don't know, I guess it's been a month now. I just stopped filming content in the gym. I just said no more right now. I want to get that nastiness back. I don't want to be governed.
It's frustrating.
It is because I know that I know that I want to give information to those that are open to receiving it, and us explaining why we're still able to do what we do. But at the same time, you go, okay, but I'm losing what this means to me. Yeah,
it's the gym always used to be about me. That was my safe space, my mental. I probably would have gone crazy if I didn't have that outlet to work out and to kind of mentally, forget about physically. But there was no interruptions. You trained, no one came up to you, you did your thing. Now it's about everybody else. And 9 out of 10 people are nice, but then you always get that one person who just kind of tries to ruin your day. Like I was in the gym the other day, and the guy came up to me and he's like, oh, what are you shooting for Instagram? I was on Instagram. There's a guy on there. He's 3 times your size, and he was benching 1,000 pounds for 10. And I was like, and the guy I was with, he's like, man, he's like, if this was 20 years ago, he goes, you would have.
Yeah, I know my Frank would have knocked his block
out. I would have knocked him out.
Holy.
And now I'm looking, I go like this. He goes, what? I go, camera. I go, it's not worth it. I said, but you come back in your own way, like in a snarky kind of way. If it affects you. Sometimes it does. Sometimes you can walk away. You like come back and like, oh, I know a guy on Instagram. He's not as fat as you, but like you could just, but it's not even worth it anymore. Just keep going. It sucks. It's kind of sucks. So that's why I go to the gym really early in the morning, or I train with Don over in at his gym. So there's no one there except Don. So yeah, we're very like-minded in the way that we train.
I'm with you. I've always, since before the paper route as that 9-year-old, I trained early and I never stopped. And I really appreciate the earlies now, because the only people that are training at 4 a.m. are successful people.
Yes.
You're not going to find the lazy person. You're not going to find the Instagram person that's there at 4. They're midday.
No,
4 o'clock are businessmen and women that are crushing it and go, I got to train from 4 to 5, get to the office by 6 and work till whenever. And it's just cool to be around that.
I remember seeing you when I went to California. I remember seeing you at the gym early in the morning, and I was there. I forget who you were training with, but I remember one of the first times I was there, I was deadlifting, you were bench pressing. You were doing like 405 or something. I was deadlifting. I think I had 585 on it, nothing crazy. And then Don Ross came up. He's like, "Where are you from?" I'm like, he's like, "You're from the East Coast, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah." But that was the kind of atmosphere I liked, the serious people. Like I fed off people like you. Like when I went to the gym,
You were
I-
deadlifting 635. Just so you know, it was 6.5. I remember that day. And I looked over there and I go, "Ooh, I like this."
Because I can appreciate you because you're tall. So when someone like, I don't know, someone I'm not gonna say, but when they squat out of the bed, I'm like, yeah, okay, they got little alligator arms or whatever. I'm like, you know what a range of motion that we have to go to? You know how many back issues I had deadlifting because I mean, like I just it was awkward for me. But I grew up in a gym, my commercial gym, everybody was on steroids. Everybody. Like everybody in Long Island, it was like the steroid capital of the world, but it was only around spring break. So these meatheads,
Really?
yeah,
Really?
There was like 5 or 6 bodybuilders, but there were more like spring breakers that came into the gym. It was only a 6,000 square foot gym, and they would puff up. They would do like 1,000 milligrams of Cypionate a week. They'd get all strong, and they still couldn't bench because I started training when I was 13 in my basement for 3 hours. So I was repping 315 or whatever. They could barely.
I gotta post those pictures
75.
because I've seen the pictures through the years of you at 13 and 15 hitting the double bicep, and you guys again, you going through puberty, and I want to go into that discussion about us pre-puberty to after puberty and what we did and with the foundation we built. But I got a steroid. This same thing. I came from the greatest powerlifting gym in the world at that time, and these guys would do their squats, deadlifts, and I was around the Doug Furness, Doyle Kennedy, Jeff Magruder, and all the powerlifters, and they would just do the stuff and give each other shots after Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, push pull. And I grew up with that, seeing that kind of stuff, and it was cool for me at that age to be introduced to it and then getting slapped by the owner of the gym. Because I'm 13. Hey, what is this? And he cuffed me and he goes, "Don't ever talk about that shit again. You're 13. Shut up." And I was glad about that at that age. But they still treated me like a man. They said, "This is something, if you want to do it later in life."
Yeah.
Or something. But to see those massive humans setting world records and so monstrous and doing that, it really taught me a lot. It introduces us to the freaking meat of what the elites do.
When I was 17, I weighed 225. Never touched anything. 18, 19, 20, 21, I think was my first show. I was 260 pounds already. And then
on stage?
No, I was 240 first show, 250 second show, 265 third
Hold on, don't run over that, because for you viewers watching this, you think back, the first guy that was massive and winning was Lee Haney at 242. Yes. That's 242. Barry Dene places 3rd or 4th at 228. It's like, you're a massive monster of a human to be 240 on stage.
And I had the opposite. So people were like, "Oh, what's the matter? Are you a wuss or this or that because you're not on anything or this or that? You're afraid to compete, or are you afraid to do this?" And I sought help from somebody who knew what they were doing. So when I started competing and I took steroids, I was like, I took one thing, I think it was test, and I went from 2, and I dieted down for modeling jobs. I just did a Versace underwear thing, which was more money than I made in the first year of bodybuilding.
In any show combined together.
Combined. I was like wearing, I think like 18 grand or whatever it was. And I went to a show and I always loved bodybuilding. I'm like, wow, this is cool. I'm like, I could win this thing. And they're like, "Aren't you you're going to do the novice?" I'm like, "No way. I'm going to Eastern USA. I'm going to go to the whole show." They're like, "You're not going to win." And I remember I had 10 weeks and I sought the help of someone who was a bodybuilder, and they're like, "Take these 2 things, these 2 compounds, this test and Primabol, and take it." And I took it, And I started with the test first. I went to 253 in 2 days and was covered in veins. Like, oh, I think it was test suspension. I was like, what the hell? I was like, what is this? You know?
It's like Captain America.
I was like Venom.
Yeah, you're Captain America. You go in the thing, and 2 days later, you're like, holy sheesh.
And it was the funniest thing in the world, man. It was just like, oh God. And then I won that show. And then I was like, I don't know if I want to do this. And I started doing a whole bunch of other modeling and whatever. And then I'm like, wow, the Mets is coming up. And then I did the Mets. And then I was like, let me take 6 months for this. And I went to 252 on stage, I think I was about. And I won that whole show. And then I'm like, they're like, you should do that time. You do the Junior USA, you do the Junior Nationals.
Yeah.
I'll just do the North American. There's like 20 guys in my class. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to take a solid 8 months. And I did. And I was 260 something on stage. I didn't have like, you know, and then when I did that, I was like, I'm done. Because I didn't want to go any further. And I was like, it's for everybody else. But I didn't love competing. I loved training. And I didn't want to continue that cycle throughout my entire life. And I thought, you know, I'm going to continue training. I love it. Nothing's ever going to stop that. But as far as putting on the trunks and the oil and all that stuff, it was a byproduct of a goal. It wasn't, you know, my thing. Otherwise I would have come back and did men's physique or something.
It's interesting because I think you and me agreed that it's the lifting that we breathe. And the competing was fun. And when we were young, it was really fun to compete and stuff. But it was, if we continued, mostly because you and I started so freaking young, if we continued that path, what would have, if we kept pushing it? Because I know everybody goes, Mike, why are you so lean and dry? And if you're not going to compete, why are you doing this? And I'm like,
why not?
What the heck does competing have to do with me getting in the craziest shape? I don't even understand the question. Do you ever get that? Like, Frank, why are you training that hard? Why you look this good if you're not going to compete? You're a loser. Stop it.
Right now I weigh about a little over 240. And when I would do photo shoots for people, like we would do photo shoots for whatever it may be, competitors, interviews, they're like, people go, well, the interviewer is more ripped than the competitor. Why aren't you going to compete? No, never. I'd rather slam my balls in a drawer. I'm not going to compete. I'm not going to compete. I'm like, I have respect for everyone that competes. I love that they love it. I love the industry, but I love to train. I love to teach. I like to educate, and I love the way my body feels and reacts to certain goals that I have. That's it. I was 255 this summer, and then now I'm 240. Now I'm working on this really cool project. I'm going down to 225. So when people come up to me like, oh, you're losing weight? Oh, I'm like, seriously, dude? Like for 20 years, I was within 10 pounds of the same weight, and people would accuse you of taking steroids. And I'm like, no, I'll tell you when I was on, or give me your stuff and I'll show you how it really works, you idiot. Like I've been on the same, within 10 pounds of the same weight. I did it for competition. Cool. Like, but I don't, it's just, you can't comprehend what other people are thinking. One out of every 4 people are mentally ill anyway. So this
I just heard the ugliest study in my entire life. Somebody just was talking about the percentage of people that like their moms, love their moms, and it's 50%, and that crushed my heart. I'm like,
what's wrong with people?
Wow. But at the same time, it kind of goes, wait a minute, we're out here trying to maybe be a positive. Hey, guys, we're both at this age where we're going, hey, you can do health and fitness into your 60s, and Robbie Robinson, almost 80. You can do it in a way that you're healthy and have fun with it. And we're trying to teach that, and you get a lot of negative on that. But at the same time, then that goes back to the study. Well, if they're not even going to like their mom, they're not going to like us.
Could you imagine your son not loving you? I mean,
I can't fathom it.
Yeah, that would be, or you not loving your mom. I mean, mom's the greatest person, like in my life. Like that's my mom. Like, I don't know how, and that's what I'm saying. Like you can't really know what's going on in people's heads. Like they'll come up to you and they'll say something and you just like, you got to walk away. I like that. I've gone through different transitions over the years. Like, I'll talk freely about everything, and people are like, "Oh, I could look like you because I was on steroids." No, you can't. It was a 4-year period, like 30 years ago. And like, somehow, some way, I've maintained this physique for all these years. But I like to educate and teach people. Like, when they ask me questions about it, I'm honest. I'm like, people ask me all the time when we do these shows in live, "What do you think of Michael Hearn?" And I'm like, what the hell would Michael Hearn have to gain or lose by lying about anything? I'm like, have you seen pictures of him when he was a kid? Have you seen this? I'm like, it's just so stupid. I'm like, I think people need to get their own lives is what they really need to do and stop worrying about everybody else. It's just,
Yeah,
it's just
I could be like Frank if I took something or didn't take something. Well, today I want to be like Frank, so I'm going to ask some questions
Sure.
because of the fact that I'm working with Transcend and I'm doing this whole journey of TRT. So what is possible? What is open to this? What is now available to me to learn? And if there's a chance I can get better at this stage, holy shnikes, that's exciting.
1,000% you can get better. You know what we didn't have back in the day that I wish we did? Well, no one ever did it.
Cell phones?
A blood test. So when you had a client, or you were a trainer, you never said, "Hey, you know what? Hey," your client was like, "I'm low on energy. I'm this and that." You didn't know if it was something wrong with the body or whatever, like, because they go for a blood test. So now with Transcend, if you choose to, you can get a blood test and see what you're deficient in. When I had my blood test done with them, I was deficient in vitamin C. I was like, what do I have? Scurvy? I'm on a ship going to the Hollands, but certain things that are affecting your body, your workouts, energy levels, strength, testosterone level, whatever it may be, that's a blueprint for you to kind of say, hey, me, I was deficient in vitamin D. Vitamin D deficiency, there's a lot of things that can go wrong with your body if you're deficient in vitamin D. So I was like, oh, okay, great. So from that sense, instead of going to a health food store and just buying everything in sight and spending $500 on miscellaneous vitamins, you actually have the blueprints. Like, all right, Mike is deficient in this, and this. So let's give him something right now that's going to help him personally. I can't say, hey, like in the back of the gym, hey, yeah, man, take this test and you're going to grow 20 pounds. Because your program should be personalized and customized to your deficiency and your needs. Like, looking at you, they're not going to say, hey, like my test levels were 850 normally.
Ooh.
Oh, my brother's was 930. He passed of ALS about 2 years ago, but he was like, 930, mine 850. So testosterone's not my deficiency, but my free testosterone needs to come up. So they'll give you something,
Right.
to help that. Energy levels, your thyroid might not be activated 100%. So you might need something for that. So there's different things for different people. There's 400 different peptides that they have. And you don't need a blood work for that, but I would recommend it because it's like going in blindly. Just give me this, and this. So I think, the blueprint that you need, Mike, you go and you get your blood work and you see and you go from there. There are things like the natural, I spoke to Phil Heath about this, the growth hormone release product. I don't know if I'm saying it right, the ipamorelin and tesmorelin. Yeah.
Yeah.
Something like that.
I think this is so cool, and you're hitting it out of the park because of the fact that we didn't have blood work back in the day. And so that's cool for the kids today that are thinking about going that route.
Yeah.
And I keep saying this. I don't recommend to do it if you're trying to be a sports athlete, because if you do it,
yes, your blood, it's frowned.
I say do the blood work. I don't mean jump on tons of drugs.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
When you're young, because there's an athletic ability that you have to have. It's like you and me. How many guys have you seen that walked into the gyms, and I've been at Gold's Gym since the late 80s, that came in going, I'm going to be Mr. Olympia. And I look at them and I go, ooh, there's not much of a foundation there. You're not complete. I wouldn't run that. And then they just run the stuff. and then I just see them deteriorate away, and then they get off of it, and then they're done by mid-20s. And I'm like, dang it, I wish somebody would have told you, or you would have listened.
Well, that's the thing, man. Like, think about when we started and what we put our bodies through on a consistent basis for that period of time. Like, some of these people I watch, and nowadays you get your pro card in 2 shows. They try to get their pro card in 2 shows because there's so many shows. They're like, I'm getting ready for men's physique. What are you doing? Well, I'm doing tren, I'm doing this, and I'm doing that. I'm like, how long you been lifting? Well, I just started off and on. And I'm like, man, if I had no air conditioning in my basement, I had Lou Ferrigno Olympic weight set that my father scraped money together for. Like, I just can't comprehend. These are the same idiots that don't put their weights away that drives me nuts. It's just they have no respect. It's like, what are you doing? Like, and they look at you and like, wow, you must be on something. Why? No, I'm following the same protocol and consistency that I did when I was 13 years old. Whether I was, bodybuilding, forget about those couple of years. This is what I need to do. You need to build a foundation because as soon as you come off, you're going to look like crap. And they don't get that. And that's why they become psychologically addicted to it. And I've never did because I knew that I liked the way I looked better anyway, the other way. But it was just the fact that I wasn't addicted to it. I already had a muscular, big physique.
You already had the
18
foundation.
years old. Yeah.
So there's so much. I wish they would take that into consideration. I wish the young guys would take that in consideration because the older guys and girls already know they got to put the time in, they got to put the work in, and they just got to keep moving. But the young ones, I wish they would say, hey, you know what? I'll give it, which I know to them it sounds like a lot, but give it 5 years of just consistent training, consistent nutrition. And then if you decide to go down that road, but go down that road with Transcend. Do not do it with the guy at the gym that's jacked.
There was...
You know what I mean, though? They do that. There's guys at Golds that are, go talk to him. He'll get you on a cycle and stuff. No, go over to Transcend, get your blood work done,
two
and
things,
see what you need.
2 things. Like, I was with my son the other day, and we were training at LA Fitness, and they have a
How old is he now?
He's going to be 15 in April. And
I can't even fathom that right now.
And he started consistent again. So we have tires and we have sleds, and he's flipping the tire, and there's 2 handles on it. So he's flipping it. This guy comes up to me.
Oh no.
He's got tits, and he's got a jacket, and he's got like 4 handles, and he goes, she's doing it wrong. Now, I was doing it the same way. He didn't say I was doing it wrong. And my son looked at me, and my son's like, he didn't know what to do. He's so polite and nice, whatever. So I was like, and I was just annoyed the hell out of me. And I said, listen, I go, so you don't sound like a dick the next time you go up to somebody and say that. I go, there's handles and there's this way. It's just a change of a grip. That's all it is. That's all it is. It's a change of the grip. It's a flip or it's a flip this way. I go, there's no difference. And I go, next time you have something to say, I said, turn around and walk away. I go, I've only written 8 books and 2,000 articles.
Yeah, he doesn't know who he's talking to.
I think I know how to do a tire flip, and I covered the world's strongest man in CrossFit for like 15 years.
Where you messed up there?
But
you should have showed the grip and how the grip was changed with his titties.
You
should have tried his titties and kind of shit. So, see, this is cupping, this is rotating.
You know what? I was going to milk him in the process. but going back to what you say, so that mentality is now, how do you convince someone like that to get the blood test? Because someone like that is never going to change. But people coming up and educating has to start with the trainers, because the trainers, whether it be the trainers for competition or whether it be the trainers for just, regular people. Because they're going to have to be the ones who start pushing these blood tests and everything. Because people are like, oh my God, a blood test. It takes 2 seconds. It's not a big deal. A lot of people don't want to know what's wrong with them anyway. So
let me read this for you. Let me read this because I think we can both agree on this is a mentality of a beginner.
Yeah.
It is impossible for someone to learn what they think they already know.
Oh,
now, that is the beginner. That's the Donnie Kruger effect. The guy reads one book, I know everything. Where everybody I've ever talked to on this podcast, from the strongest men in the world to the greatest NFL players to the greatest strongmen, bodybuilders, writers, directors, actors, all of them are open to learn, where a beginner is not.
I have the greatest resource in that for training and information, because I get to train, and you too, with all these great people. Like, I learn something new all the time from people. Like, I'll train with Andre Ferguson and we'll do a pull down. He's like, nah, Frank, if you pull it up like this and you pull it down, it's like, and I'm like, wow. And then I'll train with what's his name, Max Charles, and Max Charles will be like, well, if you're doing, like quarter reps and half reps and this, and like, you learn something from everyone. So, and I think that's what makes you, the most educated person. If you take all this information, use it instead of like, I know it all, because then you only know that small part. That's what you know. I'd rather get information from everybody and kind of put it to use. Some things work, some things don't. But I'm like, it's just so great. Like, some things we forgot, they'll bring in like, how about this exercise? Like, Don and I were doing the arm blaster, and I had one of those. I was like, you know what, Don, I'm not going to lie. This ain't bad. I was like, I like this.
My yesterday post was me doing arm blaster.
Oh, was it? Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like,
I love the Joey arm blaster.
Freaking, I love it, man. I'm sitting there showing Robbie Robinson, and he's like, yeah, bring the arm blaster. And then Robbie pulls out of his freaking bag. Remember the old chest pump?
Oh, I was just going to say that. My dad had one in his gym bag.
Come on.
The first time I hit it, it hit me in the face. But I used to bring that backstage and crush it.
Oh, yeah. That was the best thing in the world.
Oh, I love that thing. And then they had the string. It had like, it was almost like Jack LaLanne made, I think. It had the 3 prongs on it for your grip. You had to pull it in. But I
always had those.
It.
It's some things I don't think there's nobody on here that can debate with us that getting your blood work done at whatever stage you're at is something that has to happen. So I'm at that age where you should get your blood work done, even if you're not working out, even if you're not eating. I'm old. Get the blood work done. Make sure that there's the body's going. There's such a process now at this stage that you got to do the colonoscopy. You got to do all these things. But the blood work is such a simple thing. So I went and I got my second blood work, and I am having fun as a Frankenstein scientist looking at my markers.
Yeah.
How can I change this? How can I make this better? Can I fix this? Can I do? It's fun for me because it's a whole nother level to what we do. How does the diet change? Do we add in fats? Do we take out fats? Do we put in more carbs? And I'm curious about you when you look at your markers now and you go, hey, you want to get to 225, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what will that do to your markers? How are you going to diet? How are you going to do your training now? So it's kind of cool in a way.
I think too, I think we're both of the same mindset that there's no can't, like there's no, like, it never enters into my mind that like, oh, you're 51. Oh, you can't do this. It's like, okay, I got 10 weeks. I'm actually shooting with Mike Ruiz in 10 weeks. Love that dude. I love that guy. And so I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do this. And then people will come and they're like, oh, you don't look good that skinny, or you don't look good this way, or you should put size on. It's like, shut up, But knowing what I need and what I'm deficient in and what my goals are. And if I go to Transcend and I say, look, I'm going to be dropping my calories a little bit lower than usual. And I've always been, Mike, I've never been a guy who's like, I'm going to eat 20 carbs and 5 of these. I'm like, I would rather out-train my diet. When you say you can't out-train your diet, bullshit. You can.
Right.
But I'm more of like, I know that I need a certain amount of energy for this. I need something for recovery. Energy, recovery. What are you doing for it? Those two things. What are your goals? No matter what your goal is, whether it's putting size on.
We didn't know that at 20.
Yeah.
We didn't know that.
Energy and recovery. So what are you going to do? You don't know. You're going to go into the health food store. You're going to buy a pre-workout. You're going to do this. Or you go to Transcend, you get your blood work. What are you deficient in? Because maybe if you do go to the health food store and get that energy thing, maybe it won't work 100% because the rest of your body isn't working 100%. So I think, knowing that what's in the blood test is obviously going to help you. When I increase the D and C, and there's certain peptides too that help you with your mental capacity. So
we're going to go into that because I'd love to hear.
That's important too. But it's a full regimen. Like this one I have right here. This is GHKCU. Now this is a skin and hair peptide. This is awesome. Like,
I got to stop you for 1 second before going into that because I want these people to understand two things that you said that they may not understand.
Mm-hmm.
For Frank to go to 225, you guys go, well, why would you want to lose muscle to go down to this weight? Stop. Frank can go right back to 250 within 3 weeks from that moment, if not 2 weeks. That's called memory muscle. He knows how to do it. He's cutting the calories.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think these people understand this. Like, the only people that understand what I was doing getting ready for these movies was Phil Heath.
Oh, yeah.
And he would message me and he goes, "You're killing it, dude." I absolutely, because I had to look a certain way for a movie. And then everybody's looking at me going, "Dude, but you're taking off muscle, you're doing this, and you're trying to create." Guys, I can put it back. You know me. See, people don't realize I'm a 285-pound man.
Yeah.
For me to get to 250, it's not really eating and it's tons of training. But I go to 285 in a week and a half. I can get back there. So I just want you guys to understand he can manipulate his body. That means he's in charge of the ship. Mm-hmm. And that's all we're talking about today. In the layman's terms, he's in charge of his ship. He can go up to 250. He can go down to 225. And if you guys are working with your body and you understand it to that level, that's what's a cool thing about you at 51. Because you asked me, there's no can't. I behind the neck press 315 the other day. Obviously, I'm psycho, and there's no understanding that, I was doing that with the Barbarians in the late 80s, and I'm still doing it. There is no can't. No. I love what I do, and we can do that. And I want these people to understand that you at 51, that looks like a magnificent runway model that can walk off and do these cologne commercials, getting to 225. And your first thing you talked about, skin and hair.
Yeah.
I love that because I keep trying to tell people, I get it. You want to be lean and you want to be jacked, but if the skin's not right.
Bro, like I tell people this all the time. I mean, back in the day when you had these steroid using guys would shave the pimples off their back to put protein. I'm like, are you kidding me? And it's the same people don't brush their teeth. I had a guy's a dentist at Bev's, and he's like, there's a competitor in here. I was like, I have horses. My horse's teeth are more healthy. I was like, he spends all this money on his physique and everything. He goes, I pulled 4 of his teeth. And I think that's one of the things that I've always been. I was like, I go to a show and I'd see people that I grew up with and they look so old, and it's just like, they let everything else go. So I think, skin, hair, obviously, teeth, put it in part of your daily protocol,
Should be the top.
Yeah, I think so. Like, you only have one skin.
Yeah. I always try to tell people, it doesn't matter how lean you are or how jacked you are. If you don't got healthy skin, it's not going to look great. And so I know that's odd to hear to a 20-year-old, but I already at that stage, because we were modeling, I started modeling for campaigns at 14, 15. And so I was already said, hey, you're a white boy, sunblock, stay out of the sun, this, and this, and take care of your skin. And I was like, okay.
It was funny. No one really took care of their skin back then. And how I learned was when I would go on shoots, the only people that took care of their skin and hair were gay people. They were more like into their, and they were like, do this and do that. And I'm like, wow, this is great because they took care of themselves. And like, it wasn't until Queer Eye for the Straight Guy and metrosexuals and everyone's like, oh, you have to moisturize and everything else. But when you were a model, it was fun because they were like, hey, you know what? use this. You should moisturize. Put something on and put SPF on when you go in the sun, or do this, or whenever shoot we're on, like in the Palm Springs in the salt mines, and the sun's reflecting off the 200-degree heat, and you're burning your flesh and stuff. But back in then, when I was modeling too, I was like, oh, that's cool, and I would
Take
use
care of the skin.
I would use a ton of stuff, and thank God I had my parents. My dad's 78 right now, and he goes to the gym 4 days a week, takes care of himself. And I think you look to some of the people in your family too, as far as like keeping yourself healthy and looking a certain way.
Okay, now go back to that peptide, because I want these guys to hear about kind of, if we can.
Yeah,
I would love to talk about, and because I'm taking notes, because I'm calling Transcend after this and going, hey, I need this, and this. And
so this peptide here is GHKCU. So you're going to do 1 gram, 4 clicks. Look at this. A little click. It's as simple as this. Look, you rub it on your eyes, you rub it in your hair. I think Whitney Jones, actually, who's Miss Olympia fitness and stuff, she was talking about it as better than Botox, great for your skin. Look, I've done Botox, I've done this. I love this. Why not do both?
This is more, because Botox is for wrinkles and it's just a parallel muscle, but this is for building collagen within and stimulating growth.
And tightening your skin. And actually, there's a case where it's lightening it a little bit as well, but also strengthening your hair, the hair follicles as well. It's just a great skin cream.
Yeah,
I put it on.
Put it in your hair too. My whole staff here are taking notes. There's all these guys back here going, all right. I'm 22, losing my hair. He's writing it down.
I have hair. It's funny because that was another thing. Hair. If you go to a bodybuilding show, you're like one of the guys. There's a few guys that have hair. Everyone else is bald, completely bald. Like everyone I grew up with is bald, and it's not for me. So I've done PRP, everything else, like A-cell. This, it's just look, you have one body, and why not take care of it the best you can? You know what I mean? Like, so with everything that they're offering, if I was 20 years old or 30 years old,
can you imagine? Seriously,
had all
you
this
imagine?
Stuff, if I had all this stuff that Transcend was offering, and I would do it. Like, you know what I mean? Because now I could see 25 years later, I don't know. I just, thank God I took care of myself the way I did. But I mean, there's so many different things. There's 400 different peptides.
See, you know me. I have an issue. If it's on the bar, I got to lift it. And that's never left. And so joints for me, and like the days that you came in there and saw me, people go, hey, you're strong. Well, I'm powerlifting championship strong. And I've been that way. And it's because I focused, you know how you and I focused on skin more than muscle?
Mm-hmm.
I focused on connective tissue and joints more than muscle.
Gotcha. Yep.
That way I can stay in this because we love it so much. Is there possibilities for connective tissue, any kind of peptides that run that range to help people from injuries or come back from injuries?
So our guy over at Transcend, Jesse. So Jesse Kessler, who actually helped me with my protocol. See, I never asked for anything like that. See, you're in I look at you as you're just amazing, like 0.1%. I wish that I could lift what I did back then, because I've had a couple of different injuries and stuff that robbed me of strength in certain exercise. Like used to love to bench press, but I have a slightly torn bicep, a couple of hernia, nothing crazy, like like mostly healthy, like, never needed any upper body surgery. I had meniscus tear. That was it. Never any serious injuries. But you are just like a freak to me in that you can do all these things. And I wish that I can do that, because that's when I had the most fun. But when I interviewed Jesse, Phil Heath over at Bev Francis Gym, we did a workout together. One of the things Jesse was really adamant about was joints and all the different joint pains and connective tissue and all the different peptides that they have available, because we were talking about the ex-athlete, all the athletes who used to be football players and this, and now they're in like, like the pop leagues and stuff playing, and they want to get back, and their joints hurt and stuff. I never had that problem with my joints, thank God. But there's a ton of stuff. Like I would be amiss to kind of rattle off. He knows exactly. If you go to the Transcend website, that's one of the big things that he was, proud about with Transcend, with the joints. I never had joint pain. I only had muscular because I only had a slight tear in a bicep and a little neck thing, but it stopped me from, benching like heavy and stuff like that. But
I think the great thing about that is that there's options that could possibly help people. And again, if you and I can do anything today, it's giving them hope that maybe that shoulder can get better. Maybe that lower back can get better. Maybe the knees can get better so you can get back out there. Because you were talking about you're a father of a 15-year-old.
Yes.
So for me, that means I have to be just like I am today, doing 315 behind the neck press, doing these 600 squats and stuff in 11 years to be able to tussle with my son. And that's my goal now. My goal now is I have to get on the mat and roll with him. At some point in my life, I have to be able to do that and that turn of the lion when you hand it to him, and I don't know how big this kid's going to be, but I'm assuming by 13 he's going to be bigger than me. And so I just want that. And so this gives me hope that I'll be able to still tussle like this in time.
To give you an idea, like my son's going to be 15 in April. He's 6 feet, probably 220, 225. So, and his calves are like Mike Matarazzo's. I don't know where because I'm like, I got the Italian high calf. I like that. I said to him, like, and all he does is wear shorts. And I'm like, buddy.
He's rubbing it in.
I go, you got two job prospects. He goes, what? I go, the NBA, and you're not tall enough yet, and you're not really great with basketball, or UPS if you're gonna wear shorts all the time. I'm like, so you know what? But his calves, like, you know what? If he trained, like, I started training him really early. He stopped, and now he's back. You'll notice too, and you can't push your child.
That's gonna be a whole nother podcast because I'm talking to all you fathers, you elite fathers that did it. I don't want to be, and we haven't. It's more Mona that's kind of governing that.
Yeah.
We train at the house. He goes to the gym with us and stuff, and he just turned 4, but he comes in there and starts throwing stuff around, and we just let him do his thing.
Yeah.
That goes with jujitsu. It goes with swimming. It goes with his gymnastics. We show up. He gets on the mat. He rolls. On some days he doesn't want to do it. We're out.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, he was into martial arts, Muay Thai, everything, and now he's like, he stopped, and now he's coming back. So I'm like, yeah, push it. Don too, with his son is playing baseball. Like his son went on TikTok to get a workout routine, and didn't ask him, like, and he's like, Dad, what do you think of it? So it's great, like he didn't ask him directly, and now he asked him, and now Don didn't push him. He came to Don. He's like, you have a routine for me? And Don put him on a routine. Like, he wasn't like, what are you doing? What's going on? Same with me. Like, he's like, my son's like on TikTok a lot, and he's like, Dad, well, what, this guy C-Bum? I'm like, yeah, I know him. What about him?
Let's get back to but I am going to call you for that too, about fatherhood, but I'm going to actually come out there. I leave Sunday for the next couple weeks. I got a new TV show.
Nice.
I'm filming with Jonathan Sheck and Max Martini here in Charlotte, North Carolina. So shout out to North Carolina. I will be out there in where is it? Charlotte. I'll be in Charlotte filming. So if there's a gym out there, let me know. I'm bringing over the crew. But that being said, I'm going to jump up to see you guys afterwards, and then I'll look on TikTok, get a workout in, because I don't believe you guys know your shit. So
you know what? It's so funny. Some days we do.
We know.
It's always it's weird with Don, because I'll be thinking something and he'll say it, or vice versa. Like we'll do reps or he's not feeling it, I could feel it, like, what he's going through. But we've been averaging like 2-3 workouts a week, and that's big for me because I don't train with anybody. I like to train by myself. But I don't know. But he's he'll be back. We're training Monday and Tuesday. Tuesday we'll have Jacqueline Baker on sleeveless.
Oh, there we
go. In the Fitness Olympia. We have all these people who want to come on, and we just haven't had anybody on. So we're going to start having people on. We're going to start doing it at Bev's gym.
That's great.
Which is fun. Yeah, it's always
That's
a lot
great.
of cool in there.
We'll give you links. Back to peptide. So there's possibilities for joints and ligaments, recovery. You and me again. And I wish you guys would listen to us when we say skin, and do it early. Do not wait for later. Always do it when you can. I mean, the best time to start is right now. But if you can, you kids, sunblock, lotion.
Oh yeah,
it's great.
And it's so funny because I was tanning, in the tanning beds back in there.
That's all we did.
Yeah, and I just went for a full scan, and that's another thing you should do a full body scan for skin. And I looked up my health provider, whatever, and I found like an old man because I'm like, I don't want to be in there, naked.
Right.
So I go in there. There's a Britney Spears looking doctor. See, he wasn't into that, and a big German woman. So they're scanning my body completely naked. I'm laying there. So then she goes, all right. She goes, all right, turn around. Smacks me in the ass and goes, wow, you work out a lot, right? Could you imagine?
Wow.
But I was just laughing. I just laughed it off, and I was like, I didn't have any issues or whatever. But just because you don't have any issues doesn't mean you won't. So that's why I went back to this. One of the big things,
there's one, and maybe you can confirm this real quick. I'm sorry. There is a peptide that prevents. I don't know what the percentage is, but it prevents skin cancer, and we're talking about skin cancer right now for how much we did. Just so you guys at home, skin cancer is developed early on, and it just takes 30 to 40 years to come out, and it ends up in the weirdest places. My brother just had it on his ankle.
Wow.
And it just places you don't see, and that's why they had you butt ass naked and a little slap on the ass for your fans only account. But it's good to get checked. It's good to get checked, and they open up and move around your hair and look in everywhere.
Yeah, every crevice of your body. One of the most important now. One thing too that we're forgetting that they offer is for sex. Now, blood flow, ED type drugs, and all kinds of different things. Transcend also has. So I know a lot of people are taking Cialis for the pump before the gym. So that's a new thing. I don't know if
the pump?
For the pump of the gym. They're like, so everyone's like, and I was talking to Jesse about this. So he's like, I was putting my order in or whatever. And he's like, yeah, Cialis, people take it for the pump. I'm like, yeah, they take it for the pump. Which pump? I'm like,
man, so I'd be like so excited at the gym. I'm getting a boner. What the?
Yeah, I said to Jesse, I'm like, I don't know if I want to take this and train with you.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna pass that one. I'll wait till I get home.
But let me tell you something. I took it, I trained, and you become vascular as hell when you train because the blood flow is on your body, and it lasts for like 36 hours or whatever. It's not like you're gonna walk around with a wreck.
All right, Cialis, double dose, morning, night, 36 hours.
But they have, look, for people who are on some sort of.
What's the percentage of ED?
You know what? I don't know. But it's big. It's big. Whether it's mental, whether it's from coming off a steroid cycle, or just, I don't know, some sort of deficiency in your body or whatever it may be, stress, cortisol levels, whatever it is. I mean, lots of divorce, I guess, relationship breakups, suicides, I don't know. But there's a solution, there's a whole bunch of different things in that.
So my team just is doing a research here, and they're saying it's about 50%.
Well, it's not 50%. Is it you or is it me?
Yeah, one of us is not serving. I just had a kid, so Man.
But no, that's a big thing too for why people should go to get their blood work checked out and make sure, cortisol levels, stress is the number one killer. And if you don't do anything about stress, you're looking for an early grave. So, and it could also affect other parts of your body and whatever else, but they do have that.
Look, because I think stress is the number one cause of death. No, death. Stress itself.
An ugly partner is the number one problem of ED. Forget it.
I just heard. This is a funny one for you guys. It's a little. The amount that you find her attractive is the size it may go to. So if she's even really more hot, it actually gets bigger. That's true. That's true, man.
I agree with that. I concur.
The girl talking about Frank Seppi that he wasn't that big. He just wasn't into you.
But no, I mean, look, seriously, that's a good reason to get your blood work done and a good reason to go to Transcend. And they have so many different things. Or if you just want to get the pump in the gym, they have that.
So stress isn't really listed on
it's not
top, but the top leading causes of death: heart disease, stroke, cancer, blah 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 blah.
Yep.
Stress is a huge contributor
to all those things.
Yep. Yeah.
Absolutely. So we take care of your sex life. We take care of your injuries. We take care of your skin so you can have the sex life.
Energy.
And you like how you look. Let's do the basic stuff because I know that's what everybody's going to talk about. At this stage of the game with your TRT, can you talk about, are you taking, I guess a base amount is 200 milligrams, right? For T. And then some people add things into it. Where are you at?
I'm on nothing. So basically, when I first did my blood work, my testosterone was 850.
Huge.
And my free test was low. So they recommended taking a testosterone cypionate for 100 milligrams per week, or whatever it was. I took it for 3 weeks, blew up 13 pounds, and I couldn't take it anymore. So I stopped taking it because, and Jesse said to me, and he's like, I've never seen this in anyone ever in my life. How big you got in such a short period of time. I go, I told you that I haven't taken anything in 20 years.
Yeah.
I'm only taking this to do. And I was like, and so I came off that. I was taking DHEA and stuff like that. But that was the only compound. I was taking the growth hormone peptide, which I really liked. And I was taking this one here, which is a endomorphine, 25 milligrams.
So is that a tablet?
Yeah, when I came off, I was taking that. It's almost like a what's the name of that? I'm having a brain fart. But yeah, I was taking this.
Does that help the free testosterone open up?
It was raising my free testosterone without taking the cypionate.
Right.
So
it's an interesting thing. I have a client that's 50. His testosterone level is at above. So on his test, it was the range of 250 to 950, and he was at 1,000. And again, a natural guy, but his free testosterone was just dead in the water. And so it's like he has all this great testosterone that does nothing. And so for everybody out there that's going to go, well, my testosterone is this, this, and this. It's like, well, okay, but is it functioning? And that goes back to what you were saying. You get on a little bit of stuff.
Oh my God.
And old Frank is right back. Boom.
You could see the pictures. Don was like, what the hell is going on? Like my delts were huge. They were round. I was 250. I started, it's probably 3.5 weeks. I was 240. I was 253 and hard as nails. My delts were getting big. I felt good, but I just knew that if I continued, and I wasn't eating anything more. I was eating and I was like, I can't do this. I bought all these clothes and everything else too. I can't fit into anything. I just knew that I just wanted to be lighter, and they addressed it, and they gave me something else to keep the testosterone level higher. But right now, currently, I'm not taking anything. But once in about a week or stuff, get my blood work, and then I'll go see where I'm going to go for that for the next 10 weeks, and then they'll put a protocol together. But I won't be doing any testosterone or anything like that.
Are you okay? And you don't have to do this, but I'm going to get another blood work done, and then for you and me to sit down and discuss our blood work.
Yeah,
discuss our markers and kind of
old people do in the park, man. They're like, you know what my LDL level is?
Oh my God! My prostate's killing me.
Hey, Mike, how's your cholesterol level? Mine's 140.
Oh, jeez. Okay, so let's do that in the future one. We'll bring that into you guys. I just want to kind of recap real quick again. For you guys that missed this, or you're just listening and not paying attention, he's a 50-year-old man that got on a little bit and he put that muscle on. So if you guys are going, hey, I would like to put that muscle on, but am I too old? You're not too old. You're not too old.
Right.
And again, diet, we're going to go back to this all the time. Frank and I agree 100%. It's diet, training, and then supplementation. It doesn't go in reverse. Do you agree or disagree?
I agree 1,000%. And for me to go to 240, 253, you got to remember, I was naturally walking around my 20s, whatever. I was 250, so it was basically bringing me back to my natural weight. When I compete, I got up to 314 at one point.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of muscle memory on here. I actually I keep it back, held back a little bit. I'm not, I don't want to, I hate to say I don't want to be, huge, but I know for my body and for my, I got my knees done.
Is that hard for people to comprehend? Because
oh God, I hear bullshit all the time. They're like, oh, we're big. And I'm like, shut up. Why am I go kick rocks?
I during the lockdown, I got to stop guest posing every other weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got to go, okay, let me feed the body healthy again. And I hit 320. And It's easy for you and me to get that size. Because remember, by the end of puberty, I was 275.
Yeah.
And I wasn't a high school puberty 275. I was winning powerlifting and bodybuilding competitions. I was a monster, all-American football player. So I'm coming off the ends at 275 at 15, 16 years old, also squatting 600 at that age.
Yeah.
So there is a fundamental foundation that we had, and we can get back to that because we stayed in it. And I think I wish people would understand that. The guy that comes up to you on the sideline and goes, I'm going to get like you when I'm your age. And it's like, wait a minute. Frank was this his teens, and then you just stayed there. You didn't wait. And I just want you guys to be realistic and go, you can be a better you. We both agree on that. Everybody can be a better you. But Frank is a level of something that, regardless of what you do, in my opinion, Frank is a hard thing to even come close to match or be. So don't go, hey, you're talking about this stuff and I can be like Frank. I'm not. Sorry.
Mike, you and I hold ourselves at a very high standard. Like, I'm wearing a suit and you can see a bicep vein through my suit right now. And I don't
know if that's a vein because you're jacked or you had Cialis morning. So I'm just going to say that.
But I don't feel like I'm at my best at all. But if, like, I was talking to George Farah, a couple other people, like, if you did stuff like a couple of months, you'd be able to compete in this and that. And I'm like, yeah, wouldn't want to. You know what I mean? Like, I do what I want to. I don't care what anybody else thinks. Like, I know what I can. If I wanted to put on size or this or that, I would. And this, and I did the blood work. My testosterone levels were, free test was low. I tried to sip 100 milligrams, 3 weeks. I blew up 13 pounds. I deviated from that. They gave me another option, which was a peptide. Great. Now I'm like, going to get blood work again to see what it is. And that's it. Like, you can't, I'm different from everybody else. You're 13 pounds and 100 milligrams. He's full of shit. Okay, I'm full of shit. Whatever makes.
I want to know your IGF number, your marker. I want to know what your free is on, what it is on your next test. I would like to see how that changed, your free testosterone changed, your IGF on the recovery, and what they would like that kind of stuff at. Because I think that's really helpful for these viewers out there to go, hey, can I optimize this at a level that's beyond? What can I do?
Do you want to hear something funny? Is that when I hit 250, I took this picture and I'm like, wow. I was like, holy cow. Couldn't believe it. A company approached me, another TRT company, and they're like, would you consider competing? And I said, no. They're like, we want to give you $100,000. And I said, and he said, we'll give you everything you need, and we want you to compete. We want you to film this
process.
In the process. I go, for $100,000, I go, I'll shoot it myself as sponsors and turn it into $1 million. Like, what am I, 20 years old?
Yeah, you could do your own for 100. I think that's what I don't want people. Stop. If we're going to talk about Transcend and TRT, stop thinking about contests. We're talking about freaking life.
Yes.
You guys got to stop doing that. You're working with a TRT company. Frank's working with a TRT company. He's not on a test. He's taking care of his body with everything they can do and the blood work. And that's such an ignorant statement for all these people out there going, hey, Mike just signed with a TRT company. Jacked. He's on tons of trend.
Let me ask you this.
Hey, maybe I will. Maybe I'll go down that road one day. Maybe you'll see a fucking change with a monster. But
I listen, and that's what I'm saying. For 20 years, I was dormant. Like I came out of the ice and they chiseled me out for 3 weeks. I could tell. Like if you went on and you did this, I would be able to tell right away. That's what I'm saying. Like I could see as a judge, IFBB judge, just around this sport for all this time, I could tell right away. And
you're gonna go online and go, I just want everybody to know Mike is a fake natty. Go look at this thing right now.
How much Miller? I know Mike's on 30 this and that, but maybe one day you will want to do it. Who cares? Like, and that's your thing. But what was I going to say? But yeah, that's what I'm saying.
TRT is about health optimal. It's taking care of you. Blood work first. Stay on the nutrition. Stay on the training. Do the blood work. You can get better at whatever age you're at. Do not compare yourself to others. You will become vain and bitter. You will not like, it's like that's not what you do here. You just kind of go over and get that. And then anybody that wants to talk to us further, we'll do this again because I want to team up with Frank and go over our markers.
I'm going to get mine done next week.
Okay.
I'll get mine. And it'd be interesting to see when I came off the test and everything else, but at 3 weeks, if it affected anything and what have you. But I'll get mine tested next week, and then whatever you want in a couple weeks, we can. And I'll have them put a protocol together for.
How crazy is your schedule that maybe you can meet me, and we'll go to the headquarters?
Oh, it's Detroit. I love it. I was supposed to take Jesse to the Jets Detroit game. I know it didn't work out because of the schedule, but we were going to go see. He's actually a Detroit fan. I'm a Jets. I hate to admit it, but I'm a Jets fan. So we were going to go to the game. A buddy of mine had a suite. We were going to go, but I'd love to go down there and check it out. I like those guys. Ernie,
yeah,
ex-military guy. We interviewed him as well for a podcast with Rob Wilkins. They're really good guys. I always make a joke when people come up to me and they're like, bro, my testosterone's low. I want to get a little something, this and that. And I'm like, go to this company, Transcend, and they'll do blood work. And he's like, what do they charge? And I'm like, dude, they're not going to throw you a bottle of sip in the back of a dumpster in a strip mall. I'm like, it's a legitimate place. And that's what I think a lot of people are not educated about, that this is actually a legitimate place because there's so, it's new here in the States. It's not like in other countries. It's,
right.
It's like,
it's not like Tijuana.
Yeah, you're going to be sticking Sustanon needles in your,
Jeez Louise. So let's talk about that for a second here. First of all, I'm going to try to hook it up to where you and me go down to Transcend. I'll get my blood work down there because I know these people would love to see my blood work. I'll send it to Greg. But it would be cool to check markers and see how we're doing everything, our thyroids, our cholesterol, everything, to see what's going on at the stage we're at this age, so we can continue to do it.
Yeah.
But that being said, the one thing I keep hearing about, and Mona has a great Romanian metaphor, I guess you would say. You can only stretch the blanket as big as it is. And so you can only keep, if you only got a small blanket, you can only keep warm in that little blanket, and she grew up in this communist country. And my thought is the same thing in one aspect, is when I say, go over to Transcend, do this, everybody comes back with just the bite. Price.
Oh, dude.
Can you explain that to me? On a person's health has a price. I'm not going to do anything. I'm good. I'm good here with my high cholesterol and whatever. I don't care. I'm fine. I'm not going to pay whatever to be healthier. Why? What is I don't get that.
It's interesting because when you go on Instagram and these guys are wearing Gucci sneakers and fake Rolex watches, and they're all killing it, and they're going here and they're eating at these fancy restaurants, and they're doing all this stuff, and then they're like, oh God, $149 I have to pay. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, so
DHEA, $11 a month. It's like, oh gosh.
This one woman, it was actually women too for Transcend. This one woman had a really hard time losing weight. And she was like, is there anything you think could help me peptide wise? And such. I said, you should go to this company, Transcend. And whatever she filled out the form and whatever. And I believe it was $85, the peptide that she wanted. And she's like, oh, I didn't want to spend $85. Now, this woman comes into the gym every single day with a Starbucks in her hand, which is probably roughly $5, $6. So you come into the gym, you're having a Starbucks, which does absolutely nothing for you. I don't know what's in it. But if you equate, what's that run? Let's say 4 times a week, that's $20 a week. There's your $80. Like, some people really need to, check themselves. And it's like, they go in a health food store too, and they get all these different things because their friend told them to, which works for their friend, but might not work for them.
So are we warped? Are you and I warped? Maybe even more than you, because of the fact that when it comes to the food to create the physique, to stay healthy and stay in the gym, I will spend the money. If it is about sleep, I will get my sleep regardless of the party or the event or whatever, because I need to recover. There's things I do that govern my day that I will not separate from. I will not question the price of food. I will not question things I have to have.
No, I just think that, like, what's
We
that
appreciate life too much on how healthy we are. What is it?
What's that old saying? Like, he used to say, you wouldn't put bad gas in a Ferrari. You know what I'm saying? Like, no. I mean, you have one body. Okay, this is the food that I need. This is your priority. When are you going to spend that money if you're sick? On a watch or a car or a second house? Or are you going to spend the money on your
They're
body?
not sick yet, so why worry about it?
Yeah. Are you going to spend
I'm not
money on
sick yet. I'm not injured yet, so why worry about it? Where you and I are preventative. We're ahead of the thing.
That's the thing. It takes a tragic incident to sometimes give somebody a kick in the ass to do the right thing, which is scary.
Sucks.
That
sucks.
People don't want to. I think the biggest thing, Mike, is they don't want to be inconvenienced. That is too. Like, they don't want to have to go to get a blood test. Oh my God, I have to get a blood test. You're going to take 10 minutes out of your day to get a blood test. That's the big thing. As far as money's concerned, it's not the norm for them. It's not, it's going outside the box for them, spending this type of money. They don't realize what it's going to do, because everything they've taken in the past hasn't worked for them, because they never put the consistency, the diet, and the training together. So they're like, oh, is this going to be like the grapefruit diet that I started, or the dark,
eat grass and grow?
Like, is this going to be another one of those things where, you take 3 and throw it in the back of your car and never see it again? So I think it's more of education, but it's going to take a tragic incident. I've ran into, and I hate to say this, in the last 3 months at this LA Fitness that I train at, because it's like half a mile from my house. 4 people in their 40s who have had heart attacks. And 2 were steroid related because I saw these guys, they come into the gym, they're purple, and they're training, trying to 350, or they're aliens. They're purple. I'm like, why are you purple?
Is that the color this month? I got it. I got it.
You know, are you taking the Cialis and the purple's going to you?
That's I did a double dose.
Yeah, is there another Avatar movie that I'm not aware of? Are you shooting here? But that was another one, and the other one was obesity, and the other one was just a surprise because the guy was skinny fat. So, you know, one of those guys eat what he wants, but he's just skinny fat. Eat what I want. How's that working out for you? Now he's got a stent in his chest. So, and those are the people now. One of them came to me. He's like, "Do you know?" And one of this guy, oh my God, Mike, this guy was taking 9 different steroids, and he came back and he goes, "I had a heart attack." I'm like, "Oh, sorry to hear that." He goes, "Man," he goes, "I don't think it was the trend." He goes, "So the doctor said I can go back on it." I'm like, "Dr. Kevorkian?" I'm like,
"Good job, buddy. Go get him."
Like, who's giving you this information?
That ain't Transcend. That's for damn sure.
That's what I'm saying too. So I think you need to. A lot of doctors aren't on board with any sort of.
That's a great point.
You know,
a family doctor is not this. A family doctor is going to see a number that's in range. Go, you're fine. Go on your way. Even though it may be tanking you, it may be messing up. And again, I lost my dad because for us guys, we have low testosterone that runs in our family. And so we have to take care of the prostate. We got to do colonoscopies. We got to check that stuff because as you age, low testosterone is also bad for guys.
Definitely. Yeah.
And my dad was the stubborn guy that was such a superhero that he didn't do checkups and he found out too late. And so for you guys out there, man, if you can just forget that we bodybuilded and you forget that we're in the fitness world and just assume that we're 50-year-old guys that are healthy because we're doing blood work, the best we can, you know, we're trying to do the best we can. And so that's why go get your blood work, make sure that your numbers aren't low as well.
Do you consider yourself a bodybuilder? I don't.
Not even.
I don't. And I don't like when people say, "Oh, you know, you're a bodybuilder." No, I competed, but I'm not a bodybuilder. You know, and I think that's the problem too with a lot of people. When they look at you, they look at me, they look at other, like, and they're like, "Oh, Transcend's going to make me a bodybuilder." No, Transcend's going to help you get healthy and reach optimal levels so that you can perform better in the gym, in life, in the bedroom. But it's not about stepping on stage. If you want to compete, okay, great. But make sure your levels are optimal first too, before you even maybe talk about super supplements or everything else. You're not going to become Mr. Olympia by going through a Transcend protocol. You become healthier. So when they look at us and we're saying, "Oh, I did this, this, and this," I didn't do that to be a bodybuilder or get a max rep. I did it to feel better, look better, and to, you know, perform better. So that's the big misconception with people. It's not about bodybuilding, and they'll look at you and they're like, "You're ripped, you're amazing shape and this and that." "Oh, is Mike competing? Is he trying to be bigger than this person? He's trying." No, no. If he was, then that would be the goal. If I wanted to compete in men's physique, I would look at Aaron Banks and I'd be like, okay, I would dissect his physique and I'd be like, okay, this is what I need to do. Let me put a plan together because we're the same height. His back, my back's going to be wider. My shoulders are going to be capped better. How do I do that? Let me put a plan. How much protein do I need? What kind of protocol am I going to need for that, for energy to hit 6 days a week, 2 sessions a day? Like, I don't care. So
right.
you know what I mean? Like, that's not the plan. So people need to kind of get that out of their head when they start these protocols.
Well, what we'll do is we will reconnect when you're 225.
Pressure. What if I'm 226?
Then forget you. You can't accomplish shit then. I'm going to be reaching back out again in a couple weeks. I'm going to finish up this project. I am off to film.
Okay.
And then as I continue to get this structure for the movie, and we'll do the blood work and we'll kind of connect again and then maybe take a trip over to Detroit. And
Right.
tour through there and sit down with the crew. I would love to do that because you're just you're a dominant person to me to look up to in the sport of health and fitness, from your knowledge part and how you stayed consistent through the decades. And so I appreciate you, brother, so much.
Same here, Mike. I always look up to you, and I'm happy for your success and everything that's going on. And I look forward to matching our blood work. And all I'm going to eat is plant protein and fish so that my cholesterol level's at 1 point.
I love it. All right, go play. Thanks for doing this today, my man.
Anytime, Mike. All right, guys.
Talk soon. Bye, buddy.
Bye.
Hey, everybody. Thank you for hanging out today. That was so badass. Great insight. Again, guys, we'll put a link here for you guys when this is posted for you guys to go over to Transcend if that's what you want to do to get your blood work done to make sure that you are functioning correctly. And we'll reconnect here in a couple of weeks with Frank and go over blood works with these guys. And then we'll also head over to Detroit. So if you're in Detroit, but back to Charlotte, North Carolina, I will see you guys this week. I will be over there hanging out and filming. So if I'll be training, I guess it's there's a powerhouse gym there in Charlotte that I'll be training at. So I will see you guys there. Who's doing the barbecue on the weekend? We will not be filming weekends, so I will be training, and I'll probably try to hook up and do, as long as I'm there, a Titan workshop over the weekends while I'm out there. That's it. Enjoy the day, guys.